Hi there, this is Allison from Boomerang Pilates and Functional Movement. This is my Get Yourself Moving in the Morning series, and I typically do this standing up. I eat my breakfast standing up at the island, and while I do that, clearly I'm not at my island because the lighting is no good in there. I start with a calf stretch. I keep the half dome in the kitchen beside the island so I can use it whenever I am in that area through the day. So start getting your feet nicely lined up, weight on the back heel, feet parallel to the best of your ability on any given day. And you want to make sure that your stretch stays in that 3, 4 out of 10 kind of range rather than stepping it up to an 8 or 9 out of 10. I have very tight calves and ankles, so this is my appropriate position. You might be able to get your foot further forward. You work within what is the appropriate range for your tissues. And then I shift over and I do the same thing on the other side. I'm looking to maintain my legs a bit about hip width apart, gauging by the ASIS or the hip bones rather than the squishy bits. Feet forward, nice and relaxed, continue to eat breakfast. We're looking for about 60 seconds on each side for these exercises. Now we want to move down from the meat of the calf down into the actual ankle. So this time I'm going to bend my knees. I'm still trying to keep my weight back onto my heels. And again, this is the appropriate range for me. You might be able to get your feet further forward. And let that sort of settle in. If you feel a lot of tension in the front of your ankle, in through here, even if you're not feeling a lot of stretch in the back of the ankle, you may be in the right place. Try and get the front of your ankle to relax and settle down so that the tissues lengthen through the back. Shift over, same thing, other side. You can do this, I like to do this with both legs bent, but you could certainly do it with your back leg straight if that's more comfortable for you. Checking in for pelvis not rotating and for not pushing your ribs forward. You want to keep a nice sense of width across your back and your ribs dropping down. And then because I tend to be not super strong in the sides of my hips, I like to warm up the sides of my hips. If I was in the kitchen, I would actually be leaning right on the island. But I'm keeping my legs nice and straight, and I'm shifting my hips from side to side. I'm continuing to eat my breakfast while I do this. Feet pointing forward. I'm trying not to round my back, so that you want to have that sense of spread to your sit bones and release to your lower back. There should be no strain and no pulling in your back muscles. And if you do feel that, you can let your upper body round a little bit if you can do it without the whole thing going. And just a nice little shift from side to side. This is lengthening the backs of your legs, so into your hamstrings, as well as waking up your lateral hip muscles and your inner thighs. About a minute of this one also. And then once I'm done that, hopefully I'm also done with my breakfast, and then I'm going to move to the living room. Okay, this is one of my favorite exercises of all time. This is called clocks, and the goal is to trace your arm all the way up and around as though you were following a clock. You always start by going up towards midnight, regardless of which direction you're facing. I do a lot of computer work, so I tend to be really tight in the chest and shoulders. This is a really nice flow. We're trying to integrate the spine, the ribs, the shoulder, and the arm. Let your head and neck go all the way around. I'm not really doing that because I'm trying to talk to you. You can do 5 or 6 of these on each side, trying to keep a sense of containment to your ribs, so no big rib popping. Once I'm done that, I bend my knees, and I don't have really strong external rotators, so lots of hip rotation is a really good choice for me, and it makes me walk better through the course of the day. So there's a whole other video of this on YouTube. A whole 3-part series, but a few of these, maybe 10 or 12 on each side, a whole minute's worth if you have the time. Turning from the depth of the hip socket so that we activate the really good hip support. Once I've done that on both sides, this is also a fantastic anti-computer hunchy back stretch and workout for your abdominals. I have a half dome. You might want to have a rolled up towel or a rolled up yoga mat. It goes right under your shoulder blades, hands behind your head, a good link. Let yourself drape back. See how there's a big gap here between my ribs and the floor? my fantastic cameraman is going to show you the gap between my ribs and the floor, if I can get my shirt out of the way. I'm going to try and drop that down towards the ground so that I articulate my spine. Drape back, use the upper abdominal muscles to slide back down. So we're trying to avoid this, where the ribs really flare up with each repetition. Keep the ribs dropping down so you lengthen as well as work. So that gets into my back and it gets into my abdominal muscles, and I'm going to finish with a last external rotation called the Pez dispenser. I take the half dome and I'm going to put it under my pelvis flat side up, and I'm going to turn away from you. Flex your feet, grip the block with your inner thighs, and then turn from the top of the back of the leg. Again, if you have a whole minute, you can do a minute of these, but otherwise 10 or 12 of them just to get things moving in the morning is a great start. It's called the Pez dispenser because the block should pull towards you like a Pez. So there you go, that's how I get my morning started. It gets my shoulders, my hips, and my torso all moving. It gets some length into my calves and some activation into my feet so that I can move more and move better through the rest of the day. If you like this video, you can check out the rest of the ones I have up on the Boomerang channel, and we'll see you next time.